Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Trick or Treat. So, just to be 100% honest with you all, this was a first time watch for me, and a lot of people watching might think that's absolutely insane. This is a very well-known movie. It's probably a October and Halloween staple for a lot of people, but yeah, this was a first time watch for me. Okay, this movie has been on my radar for like forever. I've known about it for forever. I've wanted to see it for the longest time, but for some reason I just never got around to watching it. I actually just picked this up on DVD a couple weeks ago. I've mentioned this in my other videos. So there's this little record store by my house, and in addition to selling records, they sell movies. And the way the store is set up, it's set up like a mom and pop video store. There's uh, DVDs and Blu-rays like on every wall. Every wall is completely filled top to bottom with Blu-rays and DVDs, and they're labeled by sections. So I mean, pretty much whenever I walk in there, I just walk straight to the horror section. I'll be there for a minute. The people who work there probably think I'm nuts. Like, who is this guy? He just always goes straight to the horror section. This clean cut looking guy buys all these I always get like the most like obscure, like weird like B movies there. Because I mean, I'm not just gonna get some stuff that I could watch for free on streaming. I'm gonna get some weird obscure stuff that I've never heard of before. That's like the video store vibe. Just finding something with a cool cover that you've never heard of, and you're like, oh, I didn't know this movie existed. This seems cool. Seems like a cool monster movie. But yeah, anyways, I picked this up a couple weeks ago or whatever, and I wanted to see it for a long time, and I'm so glad that I finally checked this out, because this movie was absolutely fantastic. Um, I mean, this is like up there with some of the best Halloween movies of all time, in my opinion. I mean, it hit all the marks. There was nothing really wrong with this movie. It was just an exceptional horror film, an exceptional anthology, and it totally encapsulated the holiday. It felt like October, it felt like Halloween, and I'm so glad that I finally checked this out. But getting into the actual review, like I said, this is an anthology, but it's structured different than a lot of other anthologies. So a lot of other anthologies, the segments don't really relate to each other, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have this segment, and then that's one thing. It has a start, it has an end, and then we're gonna move into the next segment. This movie had a totally different structure. All of the all of the stories were interwoven. You would have a character from one story pop in another story, and it all took place, on the same night, Halloween night, in this small town. So that was super unique, and it was cool too, because it had like a non-linear structure. So it pretty much started at the end, and then it went back, and then it would go forward. There would be like little transitions that would be like earlier or later, blah blah blah. So I thought just the way this movie was structured was super fresh. I'm a fan of anthologies, but this kind of added a fresh structure to a typical anthology, and I really enjoyed that. And like I'm saying, the little transitions, like how it would be like earlier, later, they were like stylized like little comic book transitions, and there was like one or two other little comic book transitions in the movie, and I thought that was really cool because it was reminiscent of Creepshow. Maybe that was intentional, maybe it wasn't, but I thought that was extremely cool, and the Creepshow movies are awesome. I just reviewed a couple of them, so I thought that was really awesome. Uh, moving on, something else that I thought was really cool. There were a lot of all kinds of twists and turns in this movie, and there was like a lot of instances of subverting expectations, and this happened a lot. And sometimes I don't like that. Okay, like if there's a couple twists, that's cool, or one big twist, that's cool. Sometimes if there's so many twists, they lose their effect. But this movie had all kinds of twists, all kinds of instances of subverting expectations, but you didn't get tired of it, and I didn't see any of these like twists or revelations coming. I was just totally oblivious, and I was whenever like a twist happened, I was just completely shocked, and I was like, "What?" And they were like clever. They were like smart little twists. I thought it was like, here's an example, like the one segment with the principal who's poisoning the kid and you know burying bodies in his backyard. When he goes down in the basement, you think he's gonna stab his son, but he's not stabbing his son. And then you think like, oh, maybe they're carving a jack-o'-lantern, but they're carving the kid that they killed's face into a jack-o'-lantern. So that was pretty good. And then the whole segment with the werewolves, you think the one guy, you think he's like a legit vampire because you see him earlier, but it turns out to be the killer principal guy. And then these women, they turn into the antagonists. They turn into werewolves, and I thought that was kind of clever too. How they set that up where they kind of foreshadowed it, where it was like that the girl who is in the Red Riding Hood costume, the girl who plays Rogue in X-Men, basically, she's talking about like she's 22 and she's a virgin and all this, and you think they're just referring to, like sex or whatever, but basically they're talking about like she's a virgin, like she's never turned into a werewolf and killed someone, like never like fed or feasted or whatever. So I thought that was a cool setup, that was cool foreshadowing, and I really thought that was clever. Yeah, so all the twists and turns I thought were awesome, and I didn't get tired of them at all. I could not see any of them coming. Maybe I'm a simpleton for that, or maybe this film was just well done. I'm thinking that this film was well done, because this movie absolutely slapped. This movie rocked. Moving on to my favorite segments. All the segments were good, but my my absolute favorite segment was the one with the kids in the school bus, and then my second favorite was the principal one, the killer principal guy. I don't know, something about the school bus one was just really cool to me, because I like how they're telling this legend, they're telling this story, and the girls like freaking other kids out, and they're just the location is creepy, and I like when you see the flashback of the kids on the school bus, the way it's color graded, it has this real like yellow orange look. That looks awesome. The flashback was awesome. And then once they're actually starting to get like pursued by the kids who drown in the school bus, all that stuff is awesome. Like the atmosphere, it's all like foggy, and it's just like this swamp like area. It's just great atmosphere, super creepy, and I absolutely loved that segment. And then the principal segment I liked as well. I don't know, I just feel like there was like a lot of not tension, but I don't know, like it kept me on the edge of my toes, because like I said, there was a lot of twists with that. And then just the fact where he's like burying the body, and the body keeps waking up, and he's trying to like hide with it, like hide the fact that he's burying these bodies and his neighbors coming out and stuff. I just thought that was like it was there. It wasn't tension, but it was intense. Like it was like my heart was pounding. I was like, is he gonna get caught? You know, what's gonna happen next? Blah blah blah. So I really liked that segment as well. The werewolf segment I liked towards the end, like once they actually transformed, that was really cool. I'm gonna get into that later because that transformation was awesome. But most of that stuff, like the end was really good, but most of the werewolf stuff, like with the girls partying, it wasn't the best segment. And then the segment with the older gentleman who's like an alcoholic and he's fighting Sam, even though it was really cool to like see the reveal of what Sam looks like under the mask, and Sam was awesome during that segment. He was going crazy. I don't know, that segment didn't really do it for me that much, but yeah, the two segments that I mentioned were top tier, but all the segments were good. Like there wasn't like a dull moment in this movie. Like the whole movie was great, but I'm just telling you all like some of my absolute favorite stuff in the movie. Um, and then yeah, in the principal segment, I like how he poisoned the kid with the candy, and he's like, check your candy. I like in Halloween. Like I like when movies do that. They talk about like the razor blades in the candy, or the poison candy. Like in Halloween 2, when the kid's arriving at the hospital and he has like the razor blade in his mouth from the candy. Because um, when I was growing up, I was always warned like never take unwrapped candy, never take unwrapped anything when you're trick or treating. People will poison stuff. People will put razor blades in it. So, you know, I feel like to this day, parents warn their kids about that, and I just like seeing that in movies because I feel like almost like anyone can relate to that. Like almost everyone growing up was told like always check your candy. There might be razor blades in there. So I love seeing that stuff in movies. It's just super relatable, super awesome, and it's I mean it's not funny because it might actually happen in real life, but it's interesting seeing it like in a horror film, like the horror of this actually happening, you know, because you're told about it so much, you're like, yeah, right, there's not going to be razor blades, there's not going to be cyanide in my candy, but then like actually seeing like these events unfold, it's creepy, it's scary, it's like you just like try to put yourself into the shoes of like someone who ate the poison candy, and you're just like, man, like that would be a effing nightmare. um Moving on, so I kind of briefly mentioned the werewolf transformation. I thought the werewolf transformation in this movie was one of the best werewolf transformation scenes I've seen, period. And I feel like no one talks about the werewolf transformation sequence in this because that's that's such a big that's like such a important element of a werewolf movie is okay is that you have to have a good transformation. Like everyone talks about, you know, An American Werewolf in London, how like that movie, one of the main reasons that movie is so famous is because it has one of the best transformation sequences, you know? And I feel like that, man, they just like ripped their skin off. And that's like how it wasn't it there wasn't like a build up where they like slowly transformed into werewolves. They just totally ripped off their skin and just turned into werewolves. I've never seen that in a movie. I don't think any other movie has that type of transformation, and it looked good. It looked awesome. I thought that was like a super unique, super effective werewolf transformation. I feel like no one talks about this. This needs to be on like lists for like best werewolf transformation of all time because it was amazing. And just I'm just moving on to a random thought that I had. So in the segment with the you know, the kids with the school bus and stuff, when the girl who they initially prank is going up the little elevator thing, and she doesn't let the other kids up when the actual like zombified kids are, you know, going to attack them. When I was watching this, I was just wondering. I was like, did she did she not let them up because she thought that they were just joking again? Like, did she think that the like the zombified kids were like, did she think it was all a trick and she just thought they were pranking him again and that's why she didn't let them up? Or was she really that mad from the prank that she's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna let them die, whatever happens happens, you know, they deserve whatever's coming to them, I'm just gonna let them get what they deserve. So I don't know, because I mean, that was a terrible prank. It was like extremely mean, but I don't know, like, if it's justified to like leave the kids to die just because they pranked you. I mean, it was a terrible prank. It was extremely mean. That was like a nice girl that got pranked, but if she actually just like left them to die and she knew that, like that was jacked up. But yeah, I don't know. Like, did she think it was another prank? Because it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, you get pranked, and then you're like, all right, it's like it's just another prank. Like, you're not gonna believe them that that's actually the kids who died in the accident. So I don't know. I still don't know. I'm confused. If anyone watches this video and wants to comment, I mean, what do you think? You know, because I have no idea. Moving on. Sam. I mean, can't talk about this movie without talking about Sam. He's absolutely awesome. The look of him is extremely awesome, especially, I mean, the burlap sack is cool, and just how he kind of looks like just like if you didn't really know, if you weren't really suspicious, you wouldn't know that. You would just think he's just a kid in a costume. He just looks like a little kid in a costume, but the burlap sack, the whole outfit is awesome. And then once he gets unmasked, he's like this like skeleton pumpkin hybrid, and when he gets injured, it's like pumpkin guts come out and he can like regenerate himself. Sam's awesome. And it's cool how he's like the enforcer of Halloween rules. I just thought that was super awesome. There's this other movie that kind of, I mean, there's probably a lot of movies that talk about like the Halloween rules and you have to follow the Halloween rules. But there's this one movie, it's called The Barn. That's like a really good movie. And the main kid in that, he's always talking about like, we have to follow the Halloween rules. We have to follow the Halloween rules. So if any of you all have not seen The Barn, definitely check that out. Super great movie. That's kind of like a more independent, lower budget one. Like I feel like that one's not as well known, but The Barn is really good. But I don't know, I just thought it was cool how, you know, Sam was the enforcer of Halloween rules. If you blow out the jack-o'-lantern too early, if you don't pass out candy, you might get murked by the boy Sam. You know, you had it coming. You should have. There's rules. You have to follow the rules. I'm pulling a Randy from Scream here, but I mean, Sam is, you know, yeah, I mean, he's like, he's big Randy vibes going on, you know, like enforcer of the Halloween rules. So I don't know. I thought that element of his character was really cool, and it definitely added to the movie. It was like a cool little aspect of the movie. I think I might have mentioned this, but yeah, the Halloween atmosphere in this movie was just top tier, because there's so many movies that are just set on Halloween, but they don't do anything with it. Like, all the decorations in this movie, all the, you know, little stories, all the little monsters, like it just totally encapsulates everything that people love about Halloween. It feels like Halloween, it feels like October, and so many movies that are set in October or, you know, set on Halloween, they don't have that Halloween feel. This movie has the Halloween feel in spades, and I absolutely love it. It's a perfect movie to watch in October or on Halloween. It's just, this movie hits the spot, you know. What more can I say? this is the last thing I have in my notes here. Um, I don't know why I wrote this down. It's super random, but I guess I'll mention it. I wrote it in the notes. But that one woman, she like the kids are trick or treating at her house, and she offers them a drink, and these kids turn it down. I was like, what the heck? But then, I mean, if I was their age, like I would probably turn it down too. I'd be like, alcohol is bad. I can't do that. My parents will find out. That's, you know what happens if you drink alcohol? Just, you become an alcoholic. You just, it's downward spiral. You know, you'll become a degenerate bum if you have one sip of alcohol. But anyways, I mean, I like, I like sipping a couple drinks. I'm big fan of sipping some drinks. So I was just like, man, what are you doing, kid? Like, some lady's gonna offer you free drinks and you're gonna turn it down? Like, what are you doing? Like, get it together, man. But I mean, they're little kids, so they're wholesome, nice individuals. Actually, they're not, because they just totally prank that like nice little innocent girl. And I don't know. I don't know how to think, but bottom line, they should have took a free drink. Come on. I mean, what are you doing? But anyways, I pretty much went over everything that I had in my notes. So I'm going to get into my recommendation. And, like I said, this was a first time watch for me. I've always wanted to see it. I don't really know why it took so long, but I'm happy that I finally got to see it. I feel like a lot of people know about this movie. This movie is very well regarded. It's got like an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, this is a well regarded movie. But if you haven't seen it, I think this is a must watch. This is like, this movie's a Halloween staple. I really think it is an iconic Halloween movie. I think it's one of the best Halloween movies. Like, of course you have the Halloween franchise. You can't touch that. That's extremely iconic. Like, the first Halloween, that's like, you're watching that on the day of Halloween every year. That's the best horror movie ever made. But in terms of like top tier Halloween movies, I think this is up there with all the big ones. And if you're a horror fan, or even if you're just not a hardcore horror fan, if you're a casual fan of scary movies and you like, watching some scary stuff during October or on Halloween, I think this is an absolute must watch. I think anyone who has not seen this should at least check it out once. So yeah, this movie was absolutely amazing. There was like nothing wrong with it. This movie was fantastic. Super well done. Super enjoyable. I don't know what else to say. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. But anyways, now that I gave you all my recommendation, I'm pretty much done here. So I'm going to wrap things up here. Before I head out, I just want to thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.